This is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar, and it is for 2 days, a lunar day and a solar day. It's a double calendar that is both lunar and solar. The lunar is represented on the Hebrew calendar, which would be the 28th day of Cheshvan, and on this calendar it appears in this box, which has a number 38 on it. In this dispensation, which means in this setting. There's 3 settings. So in this setting, which is the final setting before it completes, God willing, 38 is the number for today. That is the 28th day of Cheshvan. The coordinates are D4. D4 is 38, which is the 28th day of Cheshvan, and also the 28th day of November, because it's both lunar and solar. Okay? And it is also the 19th day of November. And on the 19th day of November, and when it was the 19th of Cheshvan, both, it's here in box 1. The coordinates are C3. C3 is 1, and this is the 19th day of any month in this dispensation. And the idea behind this is to find gematrias that connect with today. Now, today is very simple because by the rule of 40 means any of these boxes, you can add 40 to it, and it stays in the same box. Like 41 is in that box, 81, 121, okay, 2,000,001. As long as you're adding 40, you're staying in that file, so to speak. Okay, so today, a few things came up. Number one, what I do is get an average value of a combination of 2 names. The 2 names of, if some of you are familiar with the 72-letter name, there's actually, I don't know if this is well known or not well known, but there's 2 ways of computing them, the 72-letter names, of creating them. They come from 3 verses in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 19, 20, and 21. I think that's it, yeah. Each verse has exactly 72 letters, which is very interesting by itself. There's 3 verses in a row, which each verse has exactly 72 letters. And that itself is a rarity. And the way these names are constructed is that the first letters of each verse are lined up as an acrostic, and they form a 3-letter word, and that's the name. And most people know that the first and the most common way is to have the first verse read forwards, and the second verse read in reverse, and the third verse read forwards again. But not a lot of people know that there's another way of computing these names. It's when all verses are read forward. You don't do the reverse. Now, in the Kabbalah, the reverse represents judgment, or din, gevura, harshness, severity, stringency, strictness. So there's some people who compute this without that strictness. It's only pure chesed, pure loving kindness, compassion, mercy, and that's rachamim, chesed. And so the first way is the most common. It's chesed, gevura, chesed. But the other way is chesed, chesed, chesed. And someone suggested, who studied these names, that person suggested that they use the one that's all chesed, because today we need to operate under pure chesed, because no one is worthy of any extra special merit, extra special credit from God, because all of us are flawed majorly, and we can't stand if we're being measured. Even a small amount of strictness is too much for us. And to be honest, I really get that point. But at the same time, there's a tradition for both of these ways. So what I do is I do both. I take the name of the of the all chesed, which is not the primary one. The primary one is the fusion of chesed and gevura. I take that name and I take the name of chesed, and I get their numerical values, and then I add them together, and then I get the average value of both of them. And I call that the Tiferet average value, because Tiferet is the balancing or the fusion or the synergy perhaps of chesed, of them together. So even with that small element of gevura, it still is balanced and maybe mitigated by the chesed of the other name, and they're put together and as one numerical value, and then get the average by dividing it in half, and that's your average value. You add them together and then divide it by 2. And so the average value. So if you noticed, this format of the PL-89 is exactly the same way that if you look at the chart or the table of the 72 letter names, it's just like this. It's 8 columns because it's 8 times 9 is 72. And I had no idea about the 72 letter name when I first made this. It wasn't even in my mind. It was nowhere in my consciousness. But I realized that the 72 letter name actually fits into here perfectly. And the theme is perfect because it has to do with Moses splitting the sea and the redemption, and the amount of time. See, it's not 70, it's more than 72. See, there's 8 times 9 is 72. If it was just 72, it would end right here. But it's more. There's an additional 8, and then there's an additional 10, which makes 90 days altogether. But it still contains the 72. So this time span, though, 3 months, has to do with Moses as well, because it says in Exodus chapter 2 that his mother hid him for 3 months. So they're all together in this one thing here. So so the average value of today's names, it was Nun Nun Aleph, and then Nun Hey Aleph, I think. If you add them together, the average value came out to be 78.5. But that's today, right here, 78.5. Okay. If it's a half, then you can just go up or lower, depending on what you need it. So 78.5 can be considered 78. You don't have to round it up. So 78 equals 38 in the PL-89. See? So that's for the thing for today.